Welcome to an explainer on China's wolf warrior diplomacy. Chinese diplomats have recently gained media attention for their supposed assertiveness. Wolf warrior diplomacy is a phrase which is widely used in Chinese state-run media as well as in Western publications. So one may wonder what is meant by this wolf warrior diplomacy. Wolf warrior diplomacy is nothing but Chinese aggressive assertive verbal diplomacy. Instead of issuing long verbose statements, Chinese officials are taking to Twitter and other social media platforms for hitting back at critics of China and its ruling Communist Party of China. This reinforces the presumed transition of Chinese diplomacy from a conservative, passive, low-profile responses to a more assertive and proactive response. It is named after a popular patriotic Chinese action film series called Wolf Warrior and Wolf Warrior 2, which got released in 2015 and 2017. In these movies, Chinese soldiers go out and teach a lesson to Chinese enemies. Wolf Warrior 2 was based around a squad of PLA soldiers sent into African country which was under the heels of an American mercenary to rescue Chinese civilians. The tagline of the film is, "Even though 1,000 miles away, anyone who affronts China will pay." These movies had boosted national pride and patriotism among Chinese viewers. An earlier comparison between the movie series and Chinese diplomats came in July 2019 when Zhao Lijian, then a counselor at Chinese embassy in Pakistan, began to hit back hard against US government on Twitter. In a controversial series of tweets, Zhao Lijian claimed that US had no right to criticize China on human rights abuses when it had problem with racism, income inequality and gun violence. Zhao also alleged that there were places in Washington DC where the white people would never go. Chinese diplomats across the world began to mirror Zhao Lijian's aggressive tactics on Twitter, a platform which is long banned in China. Zhao Lijian and his boss Hu Chunyang are the two prominent wolf warriors of China. Hu Chunyang is a Director General of Foreign Ministry's Department of Information. She has frequently lashed out at critics of China in her Twitter account, which she opened only in October 2019, which today boasts more than 5 lakh followers. Chinese ambassador to UK, Liu Xiaoming, is another keen wolf warrior. He also used to use Twitter as a platform to hit back at critics of Beijing in Europe. Speaking to state media, Liu said that the term wolf warrior was a misunderstanding of Chinese foreign policy, which he said was an independent foreign policy of peace, but added that sometimes a strong hand was needed. In an answer posted to his Twitter, he said, "Where there is a wolf, there is a warrior." Of late, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hu Chunyang and Zhao Lijian have taken to Twitter to hit back at external criticism of China's handling of coronavirus outbreak and poor quality of exported medical equipments from China. Zhao Lijian, in a tweet on March 20th, said that if someone claims that China's exports are toxic, then stop wearing Chinese-made masks and protective gowns. He suggested in another tweet on March 12th that it might be the US Army who brought the epidemic to Wuhan. Wolf warrior diplomacy is evident not only from combative words but also in aggressive actions. For an example, during the trade war, sanctions by US were met with counter-sanctions by China. When US decided to defund WHO, China increased its funding. As an objection to India's infrastructure upgradation on borders, China ramped up its military adventurism along line of actual control. When Vietnamese protested against Chinese Coast Guard vessel allegedly sinking Vietnamese shipping boat near Parcel Island, Chinese Foreign Ministry responded saying Vietnam's claim to the area as illegal. Wolf warrior diplomacy is an extension of soaring nationalism in China. There is a shift in prominent ideology in China from communism to party-led nationalism. Shekhar Gupta has pointed out in one of his Cut the Clutter episode that in early 1950s, Vallabhbhai Patel has warned Jawaharlal Nehru that Chinese ideology is not communism but nationalism. Many Chinese also feel that Western media's portrayal of China is biased, often with ideological and racist tinge. So wolf warrior diplomacy is a part of Chinese government's endeavor to tell Chinese story.
You talk about a wolf warrior. The reason there's a warrior fighting wolf, because there are wolves in this world. You know, there's so many rumors, disinformation, fake news about China. You need Chinese diplomat to stand out, to speak out, to set the record straight, to tell people what are the true stories of China. So I do not regard myself as a wolf warrior. I regard myself as a Chinese ambassador in UK, building a stronger relationship between our two countries. But there's some, rumors, there's some disinformation, fake news about China. I also encourage my diplomats of the embassy to speak out, to set the record straight.
The global criticism of China's handling of pandemic have made China more offensive. The latest diplomatic offensive is part of official attempt to project China as great power, which is leading global fight against COVID-19. China had reacted in such a way the Sun Tzu described as the highest form of warfare is to attack the strategy itself. Since 2010, when Chinese GDP overtook Japan as the world's second largest, the Chinese have become more confident and their foreign policy have become more assertive if not aggressive. Many foreign policy analysts have pointed out that China is gradually departing from Deng Xiaoping's peaceful rise, hide your strength, bide your time strategies. Xi Jinping has advocated fighting spirit on several occasions, whether talking to soldiers or to his party officials. This has boosted the morale of Chinese officials and diplomats, which is reflected in wolf warrior diplomacy. Even though it is too early to tell whether wolf warrior diplomacy represents the culmination of Chinese diplomatic transition, it is not that inconceivable that Chinese leaders may use confrontational diplomacy to create an environment which is conducive for domestic reconstruction.